welcome to Meow Mix, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven,
My name is Jerry.
and we are here to recap the 2025 NFL Draft from the
Yeah,
Panthers' perspective.
a day later than expected. Had some computer
That's
issues.
okay. That's okay. Now we get to talk about undrafted free agents and all the other stuff that happened
Exactly. Thank you,
as well.
Amazon overnight delivery, for getting me new
It's
RAM.
just, it's gonna be one big wrap up episode here. Um, I think just right off the top here, Jerry, let's just kind of maybe give our grade for the whole draft, just for the folks that maybe may not make it to minute 48 here. Um, for me, A plus. Absolutely knocked it out of the park.
Well, I am. I'm actually gonna agree. I think they knocked it out of the park. I was not. And we'll talk about this a little bit further, but I was not the biggest fan of the T Mac draft. But the way it fell to them, I mean, oh my, I really like it. I think there's one pick that's universally the least favorite, but for the most part, I mean,
Okay. We'll talk about it when we get there.
yeah.
You and I haven't actually talked about that yet, so I'm curious to know which one
I said least
you think it
favorite.
is.
It's still an
No,
A plus grade.
I agree. I'm just curious as to which one. I think probably know which one it is, but yeah, I haven't gone and looked at like who was available when we picked who, right outside of the first, two, three picks. So like fifth round guys, like I don't care. Like honestly, whoever they got, I'm happy with. But let's just kind of start off one here now. Jerry and I did do our first round recap, so you can go listen to our extended thoughts on T-Mac Tataroa McMillan out of Arizona, wide receiver at number 8. We both generally like the pick. I'm much more. I've been high on T-Mac this whole time, and that been hoping that they would take him.
Hmm.
Jerry not quite as high on the need for wide receiver as I was.
Well,
Um, I,
I
I
also was not the biggest
right,
component,
right,
the biggest fan of his. I was a little worried that he's not going to be a number one, but at the same
yeah,
time, I do like when Dan Morgan did his press conference afterwards and why they didn't go uh, defense is he said
hmm
that the scouts, the team thought there was a significant drop off from T Mac to the other wide receivers compared to the defensive stars that they were looking at.
hmm
So the Jalen Walker to the guys that they think that they could get in the second round. And the way it fell, I think he was correct. So I think
yeah,
that was a very smart play. It was a chess move. It could have backfired, but it definitely looks like it panned out the way they wanted in the sense that they got their number one receiver and they didn't have to suffer for a guy they thought was more, you know, lower tier. And instead they still got two really good edges.
yeah. I mean, what T-Mac gives you is really what the Panthers desperately needed, which was a red zone, a third down, guaranteed. Hands of steel. Like he's gonna catch everything. It really just, I saw a stat today that made me even like the pick more, which was, on third, I think it was third down percentage. T-Mac was second in college football at third down conversion catches, and the best Panther was 45th in the.
Yeah, I
So yeah, which that would not surprise anyone who watched Panthers football, right? So that basically tells you right there, like that they identified that there was a need here. This also allows them to do some different things with Excel. Maybe
mm-hmm.
put him in the slot. You got Coker. I mean, just imagine like it really just does unlock your offense. And as we'll get to with these next couple of picks, I don't know that Jalen Walker or Michael Williams or Pierce would have been demonstrably better than what they ended up getting in the second and third round.
Yeah, and that's what Dan Morgan said is that's why they went that route. That
Yeah.
and I love it. Now, I think if Mason Graham fell, I think that would have been a different discussion, but It
Yeah.
didn't go that way. And there was also a lot of teams that really was interested in T-Mac. Even after
Hmm.
the draft, there was quite a few that I heard that were looking at him. The Raiders wanted to jump back up. Jacksonville really was interested if they couldn't get Travis Hunter, that they were going to take him at 5.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Yeah, I mean, he certainly wouldn't have lasted if another probably 2 or 3 picks after
Yeah.
the
And
Panthers.
Dallas also wanted it too.
Yeah, a lot of teams actually were really high on him, and it's the same thing as it all is every year, right? Some team or agent or person with an interest leaks some stuff about a player that doesn't look good, and all of a sudden it catches fire, and there's Sir Purr or Miss Purr
Yeah, Miss
visiting
Smitty is
Cherry.
making an appearance.
But anyway, again, if you want to go listen to our further thoughts on T Mac, we did that podcast a few days ago. Let's move on to round two. One of the guys that we are referencing here, Nick Gorton, I believe is how you pronounce his last name, edge out of Texas A&M. Now, this is a 20-year-old. He won't turn 21 until August, so he is very young.
Mm-hmm.
But he is what six 364, 285. Like he's a big
Oh, no, no,
guy.
no. Here's the thing about him.
Yeah.
He's 285 last year playing at Texas A&M, but he
Hmm.
played the previous years at Purdue playing at 250. And he's already back down to
Mm,
257. And when I did not
that's
like
right.
him in the draft. I was like, I don't see it. I don't get why he's so highly rated, because originally he was a projected top 15 pick at the
Yeah.
start of the draft season. Now, and I didn't see it then, and I kept watching tape. Well, after we drafted him, went back and watched more tape. I could see it. If he would not have transferred to Texas A&M and gained 30 pounds, which they wanted him to do,
Hmm.
I think he would have still been a top 15 pick. He had a lot more speed and stuff. Now, at Texas A&M, he was able to use a lot more power and strength than he was at
Yep.
Purdue, but at Purdue, he had that fast step. So at Purdue, he used a lot of the swim and a lot of the, you know, what is it, the spin move to get to the
Yep.
quarterbacks. Meanwhile, when he went to Texas A&M, completely different style player, of more of a run gap bull rush to get to the quarterback. So with him already drop it back down to 257, I'm hoping that he could have continued on with that strength, and we could see a mixed match of what he was at Purdue and at Texas A&M. So I really like it. I like him better at a slimmer weight too. He had a faster
Yeah.
step.
And he said that he doesn't think the weight necessarily was the reason why his sack numbers were down last year. He said it was more the system that they ran versus what they ran at Purdue, and what they asked him to do was just different, right? But he obviously has the ability,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is a guy that I saw mocked last year, like one of those, too early preseason mocks, right? That happens like right after the draft of the previous year. They had him going fourth.
Yeah.
Like this is a guy who is very, very highly regarded. And the Panthers got him at 51. Could end up being like the steal of the draft.
Yeah. I'm shocked he actually lasted till 51. I know they traded up to
Yeah.
get him from 57, but
Mm-hmm.
man, I'm shocked. I'm very happy now. At that point, picking this guy, I think, was a smart move, and I think he's going to have a chip on his shoulder. Like I said, he's already lost 30 pounds.
Yeah.
So,
He's ready to work.
he's good to go. I think I'm expecting big things out of him, honestly.
Well, how about the next guy, Jerry?
Just want to see me try to say his last name with round
I
3,
set this
pick
up
number
perfectly.
in 77, Princely Humanamalian. I am butchering
Hey,
it.
not bad. Not bad. Even Dan Morgan just called him Princely in the press conference. He's
Yeah,
like,
I'm
I'm not
just
going
gonna
to try
call
to
him
pronounce
Princely,
his
man.
last name.
This is a guy I really liked with our 58th pick that I was picking in the mock drafts. I really liked his speed. He's really fast off the edge. He has some developing to go, but I think he could be a huge hit for this team. And getting him in the third round, 77th pick, I think that's That's a home run, and again in my pit, A plus. So I mean, knocked it out of the park with this pick.
Yeah, I mean, again, another guy who in previous mocks was a first round pick. Like I saw him towards the bottom of the first round in several early mocks. Now he did drop for one reason or the other, but I don't know that a lot of people expect him to go, kind of deep in the third like he did.
No, I thought he
Um,
was a second rounder at.
yeah,
I didn't think he was a first rounder unless he snuck in at the very end. But wow, I did not expect him to go in third. I really didn't. I thought he would be more early second, even to mid second. I didn't think he would even fall to late the second.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's another guy who's basically the same size. He's 6'4", 255.
Mm-hmm.
And just has some skills. And he's a guy, I think he had a little more production in college. I don't have the sack numbers right ahead of me, but did he have like 17 or something? Something crazy. A big number of sacks this past season. But,
Uh,
this. Go ahead.
no. Keep talking. I'll look that up
Okay.
for you.
I was just going to say, this, to me, probably spells the end of Jadeveon Clowney on this team.
Yeah, I was not expecting that until I heard that they were already fielding calls for him. I
Yeah.
thought going in with Clowney, Wanham, I like having the plethora, especially with two unproven guys. As much as I'm really highly on them,
Yeah,
but
I'm not necessarily advocating for that, but he has a $13.75 million cap hit, and if they can recoup half of that or whatever the case is, and give one of these young guys that playing time, then I understand it. I understand the thought process behind it. I agree with you though. I think I'd rather keep Clowney, let these guys kind of develop behind them, and then put them out there in situations where they'll be helpful or situations where they can succeed.
and you could keep him fresh. Clowney
Yeah.
fresh is a better idea in my opinion too, because you
Agreed.
could rotate these guys. I mean, if you don't need the cap space, in my opinion, they need to go ahead and extend Taylor Moton. I thought they were holding off in case they got a good tackle, which they didn't.
Yep.
Spoiler. But so why not just go ahead and extend him for a couple years, shrink that cap down 10, 15 million. He's currently at 30 million. So
Mhm.
you do that, you go sign a safety and a corner, and you just move on.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard Rasul Douglas possibility at coming back here. Of course, Justin Blackman is out there and apparently is deciding on a few teams, the Panthers being one of them. So, yeah, there are some guys out there that certainly could improve the team just in free agency. But yeah, another pick I really like. So far, they've been batting 1,000 here with
Yeah, I
these three
mean,
picks.
uh, by the way, I pulled up his sack numbers. 2022, 6, 2023, 7, 2024, 11. And both of
Okay.
these, Scourton and Princely, both have great run defense. Like,
Mm.
they're not known for their run defense, but they have good run defense grades in
I was
PFF.
reading Scourton, still a little developmental in run defense, but Princely was seems like he's good there too. So yeah, I mean that's good. Obviously, they, you know, it's just so nice to see like they came in with a plan.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna take best player available, but maybe focus on these positions. They knew they needed a wide receiver, bam. And then obviously very concerted effort to go get edges with their next two picks. Something that you and I talked about when we were talking
Yes.
about the T-Mac pick. Like would not surprise me if they go back to back edge. And
And
they
they
did.
did. And I think they got two really good ones. I think that they
Yeah.
both are worthy of being drafted. And I think we got both of them probably a round later than they should have. I think if this was a normal class on edge, they would both go earlier.
Yeah, agreed. Well, let's talk about another guy who certainly was probably not expected to go to the Carolina Panthers. Round 4, pick 111, Trevor Etienne, running back out of Georgia. Now, I'm assuming this is the pick that you were talking about that not
Yes.
everybody is on board with.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I'm higher on this pick than other people, but yeah, there's a lot of people that do not like this pick. I get it. I'm not gonna say, oh no, it's a great pick. I scratched my head too, as there was, other needs. I think
Yeah.
he's gonna be a good player. I like him. He's kind of a third down type of running back, but he's not explosive. He's just a normal zone cut type of player. And I thought in the fourth round, I thought we could have waited on another running back.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of of two minds about it. Like, I like the player a lot. I watched Georgia football, you know, during the college season. I've seen a lot of him. I do like him as a runner. The need in the fourth round here, to me, just wasn't there. You know, you drafted Jonathan Brooks last year. You got Rico Dowdle in the offseason. You've got Chuba. You re-signed Blackshear. You know, I don't know that they needed to get Trevor Etienne. I assume he'll be doing a lot of returning, right? He'll
Yeah.
probably play special teams. And then, like you said, kind of the change of pace, third down back. That being said, if I was a GM, I would pick a running back in the fourth, fifth, or sixth round every single draft. I would do it every year because, number one, those rounds often hit on running back. Like, you can find great running backs in those rounds. And Trevor Etienne may end up being the best running back on this roster in a couple of years. I mean, who knows, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's
Very
only
well
20
could be.
years old, so it's not
Yeah,
like
this could
shocking.
and in 2.5 years, this could be the Trevor Etienne, Jonathan Brooks show, right? Like, very easily, I could see that.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't hate it. You know, fourth round is pick 111. You're kind of on the edge there of, are you just gonna going for home runs? Are you going for guys that are actually going to contribute this season? This feels more like a home run play, but again, special teams wise, he'll be able to contribute.
I see. That's the thing is, I think he'll contribute now because of the simple fact that Brooks isn't going to play this year. I am 90% sure he's not going to play. So you
Right.
just bank on that. You have Dowdle for 1 year, so you don't know if Brooks is going to come back. So he's going to be taking that Blackshear role, even though Blackshear is still on this roster. I think he
Yep.
takes that role right away. He's got that 4.4 speed on him, so he's fast. He didn't have big explosive plays in college, in my mind, but he's
Yeah.
got the
Yeah.
speed.
I don't think he's as good as his brother,
No, no, no,
Trip.
no. That's
But I do think he has some skills. He is quick and he's a good running back. I but I agree. This feels like Jonathan Brooks insurance. Blackshear very well could find himself being a cap casualty going into or camp casualty, I should say. Um, so yeah, yeah. Again, I'm fine with it. No problems with it.
yeah. It's
Next,
it's the only questionable pick. Like I said, I felt like we could have
yeah,
maybe gotten a corner or a safety there. I know there was a safety on there on the board that a lot of people liked at that point, but I
yeah,
mean, if that's how their board showed, is that they had a higher grade on him, you're in the fourth round at this point. I mean,
yeah.
I want guys who could play instead of reaches like DJ Johnson was. Not being too mean to him, but he hasn't produced anything, and he was a reach.
Yeah, I don't know if this was a reach exactly.
No,
I
no,
mean, I don't know where he was being.
I was saying I prefer them taking a
Oh,
guy like
gotcha,
this
gotcha.
over a reach.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, agreed. Well, and they ended up getting their safety with it.
Yeah, completely different.
Lathan Ransom, safety out of Ohio State. Pick number 122 here. I don't know a ton about this guy, other than he's strong and good against the run, which there is a theme with these guys that they brought in free agency and that they've drafted here. They want to fix the run defense.
Yes, and that's it. He's a liability in pass coverage. I was doing a little research on him. I read that he's expected to start, that he probably could end up starting very soon,
Mm.
just because he is a very talented guy, but he isn't the ball hawking safety that I thought we would pair with Trevion Moreg. So it's kind of curious if they're going to go sign another free safety and let Ransom kind of learn underneath him, which I think would probably be the best idea, but money's tight, so I don't know if that's their plan or what.
Yeah, like I said, they're looking at a couple, I think, but yeah, I'm not sure. I know there were some guys earlier in the draft that I liked at safety that obviously they bypassed, but he seems fine. Again, you're talking late fourth round here.
That's fifth. Or
It's
sorry, late fourth. You're right.
Yeah, late fourth round. So not no issues with that. Again, position of need. If he can come in and learn to play passable pass defense and continue to be a good run defender, then he's got a spot.
Yep. Moving on, round 5, pick 140 from the Giants, Cam Jackson, nose tackle out of Florida. This is what I've been waiting for. I thought Deion Walker, but nope, he was picked before us at 6'6", 328. Just a black hole of people. I mean,
wall. Yeah.
he's what I wanted. We didn't have this the past year or so with Shai Tuttle. We did not have a true nose tackle.
Yeah.
I think Shai Tuttle's honestly on notice if he makes this roster. He might be a guy we can maybe get a 6th or 7th round pick for during training camp. He's a good player. He just doesn't fit what we had here.
Yeah. Yeah. He might be if hey, he may be. I haven't even thought about that, about potentially getting rid of him, but that might be the way to go.
Get him. If we could get like a 6th or 7th round pick for him, I mean, other than that,
he took a pay cut.
Yeah.
To stay with us at all, right? But yeah, I mean, 6'6", 328, like, good lord. Another guy who, he's not going to get 10 sacks, but he is going to he's going to disrupt the running game for sure. And he's going to fill up passing lanes too. He's so big.
Yeah, that's the goal. That's a nose tackle's job. And those guys do not get love typically. And I love it just because they are so important to teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This was a pick that a lot of people really liked. Like when you look at the under reported kind of gems of the draft type of stuff, the steals of the draft, this is one where people thought that the Panthers got a really good player here, kind of deep in the draft. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, me too. Well, like I said, I've been preaching nose tackle on this podcast during the draft of a later round nose tackle.
Yeah, and something we didn't really mention, but he's an SEC guy. All these defenders are SEC guys, except I think the safety.
And he's from Ohio State, so it's not like he's playing competition.
Right, exactly. but everybody else is SEC. Like they took these SEC pass rushers, SEC defensive linemen. And Dan Morgan was asked about that in the press conferences, and he basically was just like, they're playing against the best competition. It's something you think about. So.
Yeah. Real quick tidbit. I was listening to Mina Kimes' podcast, and her co-hosts were talking, and they love this draft, by the way. And the co-host, I can't think of his name, he was like, Dan Morgan came into this draft knowing what he wanted. Big physical guys. He goes, physical guys. All these guys on defense are like 6'4", 6'5", huge, like muscular guys. Like Cam Jackson's, 3-something, but like, God, it's just huge.
Yeah. They're just getting big guys, and then they got another one in the 5th round.
Yeah.
6'5", 260 tight end, Mitchell Evans out of Notre Dame. I thought this guy was mocked to go a little earlier than he ended up going. I may be wrong about that. But
he was.
He 43 catches, 421 yards last season. Again, he's not a guy who's coming in to be Brock Bowers, right? But he has potential, right? He has potential. More versatile than Tommy Tremble is what ESPN is saying here. He is a better blocker in the run game. Now, I've been told that Tommy Tremble is God's gift to blocking. That is what I've been told.
By
So
who?
if this guy's even better, that's what that's what the whole narrative of Tommy Tremble has been his whole career, right? Is he's just an excellent blocker. But yeah, it could be interesting with him and Sanders out there together. Maybe Tremble fitting in, on third downs or something. I don't know, but um, interesting. Again, fifth round. Like I don't hate it.
No. He's a good. I saw that they're projecting him to eventually be a second tight end. Good
Yeah.
blocking. He's not the most fleet-footed, but he did run a decent 40, so he has some ability, has some injury
Hmm.
concerns. Fifth round, yeah, great. I mean,
Sure.
yeah, we need another tight end. That's
Yep. And probably another special teams guy,
yeah,
right?
and special teams very important.
Yeah. Well, how about our last pick here? Probably another special.
Special teams guy, I really like this pick. The more and more I watched him, the more and more I liked him, and I'll explain it here in a second. Round 6, 201, Jimmy Horn Jr., wide receiver, Colorado. He he reminds me of that smaller slot type of guy who can return punts and stuff. I like him. I think you could
Mhm.
rig up some gadget plays for end rounds. He can maybe work some. I did hear that he has a very bigger route tree than he actually showed in Colorado just because of what they played. So I really like this. I like you said, special teamer guy, probably punt returner, kick returner right now. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked to see him on the field during games, end arounds, little quick screens, see what he could do with the ball in his hands. And then you never know if he makes some plays, he could try to sneak up that depth chart.
Yeah. I
But I
mean,
but I love this type of guy in the 6th round.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I like this pick a lot as well. And actually, he was someone who ended up on a lot of my mocks towards the end. He was always kind of around the sixth and seventh round. He ended up on probably most of my mock drafts. Um, but it's kind of funny. Like they took four offensive players
Mm-hmm.
in this draft. In a draft that everyone expected them to go heavy, heavy, heavy defense. They were half and half basically. Um, and I do think that Jimmy Horn will have a role on this team. How big a role early on? Probably not that much. It'll be interesting to see, with the return game between him and Blackshear and ETN, where those touches go.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that, you know, David Moore's job here is in jeopardy for sure. I
Mm-hmm.
think that Adam Thielen, could potentially be traded. If these guys look
You're
really,
just
really good in camp.
so desperate to get Thielen out of the
I'm not
door.
desperate. I don't want him to get traded. I think he would be excellent here. But I think that this does give you some opportunities, with the team to make some moves.
And here's
Again,
here's
that's assuming that these guys look good in the mini camps and in training camps and stuff like that.
and a little tidbit right after the draft, the Panthers signed Hunter Renfro. You know,
Right. Yeah.
and now
Yeah.
he's 3 years off a big season in Las Vegas, but
Mhm.
he has a very similar skill set to Adam Thielen too. So I hate saying this, but I do see that that option does open up in my eyes that you keep spouting, and because there's a lot of talented guys in this receiver room right now.
Yeah. And Adam Thielen has certainly shown that he can contribute.
Mm-hmm.
Right. He is a little up there in age, but he is certainly more than capable of joining a playoff team and really kind
Oh
of
yeah.
taking them to the next level in terms of offense. So, yeah, I don't know. I imagine one of Renfro or Thielen will likely not make the team because I can't like when you're thinking about the receivers here, T Mac, XL, Coker are all obviously making the team. Right? There's
Yes.
little to no scenario where that doesn't happen. And then you're probably looking at Thielen. or Renfro.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got Moore, who the coaching staff absolutely loves and follows them everywhere. Like, that's going to be an interesting one. And then you've got Jimmy Horn Jr. here, who, they're probably only going to keep 6
And then
wide
they have
receivers.
Thornton, the undrafted guy last year that kept getting plays.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
I mean, let's not discredit a guy who worked his way into the actually playing.
Yeah. I mean, is there any chance that Coker is the guy who's maybe the odd man out?
No. If he is, I just don't understand what happened. Because he put it on tape that he was reliable last year, a good route runner. I
agree. I don't think that there's a chance, but I have seen some fans on Twitter saying, things like, y'all think Coker's safe, but, undrafted free agent coming in, blah, blah, blah. But I don't think that matters because he showed last year that he could play.
Oh,
he showed last year that he can, can be a very reliable guy.
I was like, that guy looked really good towards the end of the season. Like,
he was the guy I wanted to see with the ball in his at the end of the season.
He was talented. With Chuba out. Whew.
There you go. All right, so that's the draft. Again, Jerry and I both give it A pluses. We loved the draft, loved what the Panthers did. Definitely improved the team.
Mm-hmm.
You can say that without a shadow of a doubt. They added some really, really good talent, some high-end talent, with, what really wasn't the greatest arsenal of picks. They're the 8th pick, but then dropped all the way down to 57, and then at one point they were like 85 and ended up trading back up. So Dan did a lot of maneuvering in the draft, and yeah, I love it. I love it.
I really do appreciate the fact that I could see the vision that Dan Morgan has done last year and this year, and it doesn't like they're just throwing spaghetti on the wall hoping it sticks. It's just they have a plan, they're working it. And if I even towards the end of the thing, I don't think they were like, "Oh, we need a cornerback. Oh, we need to." I think it was, "Hey, this is the best guy on our board. Okay, let's get him. Let's just get the best guy on the board. Let's not question it. Let's keep moving on." Now, yes, they weren't picking another quarterback or anything, but for the most part, who's the best player on the board? Let's grab him.
Yeah. Agreed. Jerry, let's quickly, before we start talking about undrafted free agents here, let's go through our draft predictions. I got it pulled up here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for doing that.
I got it pulled up here. Now, I'm going to probably have you do some research as we go through these because a couple of them I'm not sure about. But let's just go right through them real quick. So, will the Panthers make a trade in the first round? We both said no. That was correct, so we both win that one. Will the Panthers draft an...
Can we just skip to the ones that we have different?
Well, no, because I think we should go through all of them. Mm-hmm. Will the Panthers draft an offensive or defensive player in the first? We both said defense. We were both wrong. Who will the Panthers draft in the first? We both said Jalen Walker. We were both wrong. How many quarterbacks will be taken in the first round? Over, under 2.5. I said over. You said under. I'm pretty sure you got that one.
Yeah, it's just Dart and Cam Ward.
Yeah, so 2. So that is it, Jerry.
Yeah, put my name on.
Yes, here's another one for you, Jerry. Who will the first wide receiver not named Travis Hunter be taken in the draft? I said Golden. You said T-Mac. You were correct. Not only did T-Mac, this is a very insulting one for me. Not only did T-Mac get taken, but he got taken by the fucking Panthers. All right. So how many trades will occur in the first round? This one I might need you to look at. Over, under 3.5. I said over. You said under. It feels like the under, but I'm not sure they're in the 20s.
Yeah, I know
there was a few some maneuvering.
Yeah, I'm checking that one right now.
Yeah, let's. I think there's.
In the first round, there was 4.
4. Okay, so I
Chiefs
got that one.
And Eagles blew it for me. The last 2 picks of the first round. That's shenaniganeries.
There you are. You always can count on those end of the round picks.
They flipped picks in the first round.
I get one back. But you're taking it right back here, Jerry. Does an RB get drafted in the top 8? I said no. You said yes. One went at 5, 4. No, 4 or 5.
Yeah,
4,
Ginty I
right?
knew was.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
shouldn't say no. I had a strong suggestion that he was going to be going.
Yeah. So good job there. How will Panthers Twitter respond to the first round pick? I'm not sure how we answered this because it just says yes
Well, we
for
both
both
had
of
yes,
these.
so I think it was going to
We
be.
both thought that they would be positive. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little mixed at first, but towards the end, I think everyone kind of came
Yeah.
around. It
Yeah, I
seems like
think it was a
everybody's pretty.
shock, but it's
Yeah.
a push for us. I like that we did that
All
one.
right. Here's another one you can research. Total offensive linemen drafted in the first round, over under 6.5. That felt like there was a lot.
I was going to say, I think I may hit that one because there
Felt like a
wasn't.
lot. Yeah. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I got
So
it.
you got it. You got it. Yeah, you're just whipping me. You're killing me here. Name one player the Panthers draft after the first round. I don't see yours on here. Mine was Royals. Obviously, they didn't
Mine
draft
was
him.
Deion Walker's. I didn't
Okay.
hit. I
All right. And over under defensive lineman in the first. Set that at 8.5. Let's see what that is. I'm going to count edges as
Oh yeah,
defensive lineman.
edges are linemen in my
Okay.
opinion.
All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I got that one.
Yeah, I mean that. Look at that 8.5, and it was 9.
Yeah.
So that was a good line.
Yeah. All right. Well, you definitively defeated me on this draft.
Yes.
So congratulations to you. You have won a $20 item of my choosing.
Amazon.
From Amazon.com.
Panthers football related. Remember that. That was a new
somewhat
caveat.
Panthers football related.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't know if you'll have it by the next podcast, but you'll definitely have it within the next couple of weeks. So
Okay.
we'll go shopping tonight. Okay. Well, let's quickly run through the undrafted free agents here.
Mm-hmm. I've got them if you're ready. If you want me to go.
Go ahead.
All right. We have quarterback Ethan Garbers from UCLA. Offensive lineman Michael Tarkin, Oklahoma. Wide receiver Jacoby George from Miami. I heard that he was one of the highly touted undrafted guys.
A funny thing about him is that he is getting more guaranteed money than he would have received as a 6th round pick. So he was a very hot commodity out there.
Offensive lineman Steven Lasoya, the third from Vanderbilt. Kicker Ryan Fitzgerald out of Florida State, who was perfect last season in kicks. And currently, I think the only kicker we have on our team, right?
Only kicker on the roster, I believe.
So welcome to the starting job in Pencil. And safety Trevion Thomas, Arkansas State. Linebacker Bam Martin Scott out of South Carolina. We always have to get somebody out of South Carolina.
Yep.
Cornerback Mike Reed out of South Dakota. Wide receiver Kobe Hudson out of Central Florida. I think I drafted him in one of my drafts in like 6th or 7th round. Offensive lineman Luke Kandra out of Cincinnati. Cornerback Corey Thornton out of Louisville. He was another highly touted undrafted guy that signed here. I'm kind of curious how he fits in, if he can actually make the roster or not. Safety Isaac Gifford out of Nebraska. Running back K-Ron Lynch Adams out of Michigan State. Defensive lineman Jared Harris Hunt out of SMU. And rounding it out, Baby Moose wide receiver Muhsin Mohammed III from Texas A&M. Local boy, too. He's right down the street played at Mallard Creek.
Hey, I love that. I love that signing. That's my favorite one, obviously.
I mean, first of all, I think as an organization, if you're going to give him the chance, he has the physical talent. See what he has. didn't really produce at Texas A&M, but I feel like he was a pretty highly rated guy coming out of high school.
Swear I feel like every highlight I watched of Texas A&M, just like on Sports Center or something, like he was making a catch, right? It just feels like he was making a catch. So I know he didn't, have eye-popping stats or anything, but and I don't have any illusions to the fact that he probably will not make the roster.
No, I
But
mean,
I do like giving him the chance. Like if Steve Smith's Jr. was out there, like and was a good football player, I would hope that we would give him a chance as well, right? Like why not?
yeah, you're taking him into camp. I mean,
Yeah.
he's 6'1", 195. I mean, again, and he's a local kid. You also want to do that for your own internal
Yeah.
growth. He doesn't make it. He doesn't make it. He ran a 4.48, so not speedy, but we'll see how he goes.
Okay. Well, no other
Icky's
undrafted free agents.
fifth year
Yeah, they
option.
picked that up. Yep, picked that up. They announced that immediately after the draft. Dan Morgan said he had called Icky to let him know, so at least he did that. But
I'm curious if the whole not picking it up was a ploy, and especially bringing in some of those first round offensive linemen was a ploy to try to get some.
I don't know. I don't know if it was a ploy or if it was like legitimately they thought there was an opportunity that they could have drafted Kevin Banks. I mean, he went ninth. You know,
Oh
like
yeah,
they very easily, if they'd have found a trade back partner, he could have very easily been the top guy on their board, right?
yeah.
That's at some point. So I think it was smart. Like if you can hold off until after the draft, why not do it,
Not
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I as long as you don't burn the bridge with your player. That's the only caveat I have on that.
I can't imagine. I mean, Icky doesn't seem like the type that would get
No.
all bent out of shape, over something like that. But we'll see. Who knows? Icky. I think Icky's got some work to do to earn that big contract that they all want. So
Yeah,
we'll
right
see.
now,
But I agree with you. I think they should extend Moten immediately. Like that should be the first thing that they work on here after the draft.
and free up that cap space, man. I mean,
Yeah, free up the cap space and get him here a couple more years. Just he's our best offensive lineman by far. He's so important to the team.
yeah.
Keep him around.
And not only that, you've got no one in the wings ready to take his spot.
Right.
So you go ahead and give him that. You make him feel good. You make the locker room sees how hard he's worked for years here, and it's gonna just continue to be nice. Like I hate saying it, but a good locker room.
Yeah.
Unlike what's gonna happen in Cleveland.
And he's got a $31 million cap hit.
Yeah. So it's not
for his final season under contract here. Like it is imperative that they re-sign him. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But that would be nice. Like imagine they could get that down to like 10.
10 or 12. Like I don't know what they would have to do, but yeah, that would be so nice.
I mean, at the very, very least, they could roll that over to next year. So that'll be a nice chunk of change. There's every reason to do it and no reason not to do it.
There is one last thing, since no one else is listening right now, probably. I do want to talk about this. Deontay Johnson signed with Cleveland. Shador Sanders is in Cleveland. Deshaun Watson's in Cleveland. They can't be on Hard Knocks this year, but God,
Are you sure they can't be on Hard Knocks, or can they just not be forced to be on Hard Knocks?
They can't be forced on Hard Knocks.
Okay. So if that owner was like, let's just show the world.
God, that would be so fun.
Everybody wants to see it. Let's watch.
I mean,
I don't know.
That would be like trash TV for the NFL fans. Like, oh, this team's going to be a train wreck. Jimmy Haslam, let's go. Let's go, buddy. Who's your starting quarterback? Sub 40-year-old poor guy? Like, Joe Flacco's the, sane one.
Yeah, Flacco's there. They drafted 2 quarterbacks in the draft. Took some no-name in the 3rd round.
Well, he's the Oregon Ducks quarterback, but he's 5'10",
Well, he wasn't expected to go into like the 6th or 7th round. Like a lot of people had him completely undrafted
Exactly.
in my mocks. Like he went in the 3rd round.
I
Crazy.
I really want to. I'm really curious if somebody called the teams and was like,
Well, that's
they
what the speculation I heard was that the owner was like, all right, in the 5th round, he's like, this, like, we're taking him. If for
ta-
nothing more than sell jerseys.
talent. Well, he's selling jerseys. Talent wise,
Yeah.
I thought he was late first, early second. I thought that was, but the need for quarterback is always going to boost your
But have
thing.
you've heard the
Well,
like
again,
reports coming out now about what he acted like in these
oh yeah,
interviews and stuff.
oh no, yeah, I did. Again, I'm glad at this point, really, no one's listening except Jay. By the way, thanks, Jay. Uh,
Yeah, thanks, Jay. No, but seriously, like if those reports are true, like it's no wonder. It's no
no,
wonder he fell so far.
like,
Why? Like supposedly the Giants gave him a play to
mm-hmm.
review,
Like
and
they give all their quarterbacks like a little pamphlet of like some
yeah,
plays or just hey, do some quick
yeah,
studying.
and then
Nothing.
they quiz him on it, right?
Yeah.
It's a pretty standard thing. Like even in a regular job interview, sometimes you have to write some code or something. Like he apparently didn't prepare at all. And then when Brian Daboll like fussed at him or whatever, he got all defensive. And Brian Daboll was like, "Not this guy. Not interested in this guy."
Yeah. Another thing, another
Crazy.
one I heard is he got into an interview with his headphones around his neck playing loud music, and he
Yeah.
never turned it off.
I
Never.
heard he took a FaceTime call in the middle of an interview. Again, maybe these are not all true, but even if one of them is, like,
Like,
it's insane.
and stuff like that gets around.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm not touching that guy. Like, even with all the smoke screens, stuff like that will leak out. All these guys are friends. So,
Yeah.
if the Giants has a friend here in Carolina, he's like, dude, because they know we're not going to take a quarterback. They were probably like, dude
Right.
showed up like this,
Even still, imagine if the Panthers would have taken him like in the 5th round. Like, would any of us have been totally upset about that?
Who, me?
Getting
No.
that kind of talent that late in the draft? But just imagine Bryce Young has a couple of bad games. Then all of a sudden, like
Oh,
you've
yeah,
got
that would
Deion
be.
Sanders on ESPN. You've got, half the fan base is starting to call for Shador. Like nobody wants that. No ownership, no front office wants that.
No, and you're right. So you would need somebody like the Patrick Mahomes, somebody like that
Right.
that's so entrenched that if you try to move them off that spot, you're going to get smacked by everyone.
Like Deshaun Watson
Deshaun Watson.
or Joe
Oh, wait.
Flacco. Oh, what a you know what? We're not the Browns. We can say that.
We're
We're
not the
not the
Browns. You know
All
what's
right.
sad is last year I thought we were becoming the Browns, and thank
Yeah.
God I feel like we're way out of that again already.
Yeah, luckily. I mean, things have really turned around these last like the last 5 games of the season
The
through
last
now.
10, like with Bryce coming back, his he
Yeah.
looked good. Chuba turned it on. Unfortunately, got hurt, but like.
Yeah.
And by the way, Dave Canales, run the dang ball. Like seriously, you now have
They keep taking running backs.
yeah.
You got to do something. You got to do something with these guys.
You got big O linemen too. It's not like
Yeah.
if he doesn't run the ball more next year, I don't know what's going on with his head.
He's like me. Like I keep buying MacBook Pros because I really want to use a MacBook Pro, but then I just have no use case for it, so I end up returning them. That's Dave Canales with running backs. It's like I really want to run the ball. I really want. Look at this, so shiny. Take it out of the box. It's so much fun, but I never use it. So yeah, that's exactly what it is.
You have an
Perfect
expensive
analogy.
little
Well, I do return them, right? You know, it's just whatever interest accrues while the money's on my credit card. All right, Jerry. Well, I think that's going to do it.
All right, we want to thank everyone for listening. If you like the show, please let your friends know. Please follow us on Twitter at Meow Mix Podcast. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at mailbag@meowmixpodcast.com. If you leave us a 5-star review with a comment on Apple Podcasts, we'll read it on the show.
We'll be back at some point. Soon,
what are we doing?
right?
What are we gonna talk about?
We're gonna have to figure something out, but we're not gonna leave you guys hanging for more than a couple of weeks at least. We'll figure something out.
Hopscotch
Let us know.
Championship.
Let us know. We got to come back and have Jerry open his Amazon gift. Nothing else. So we'll figure something else out. Maybe we'll bring some of our friends on and talk something. We'll do some kind of draft or something. Figured.
We did the best team draft last year, so last year or the year before.
We did defensive, right? Did we end up doing both?
I think we did both.
Okay. We'll figure something out.
Yeah, we could do that.
We're one smart person.
Maybe.
All right, everybody. Well, until then, stay safe out there and keep pounding.